Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. You're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of anywhere else? And that's because over there, they don't care about what you have to say. They say this all the time. They talk down to us. They think we're just a bunch of clowns on YouTube, Twitter. But I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about. So I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of First Take with Stephen A. And Shannon Sharpe talking about Caitlin Clark and what did last night prove? You know, what did last night show to us? I'll be honest, I do not know a ton about women's college basketball, and I'm a huge basketball fan, and I've watched a lot of NBA over the years, but especially since doing this channel and putting so much time into it, I haven't been able to watch as much as the regular season as I would like, but I definitely do plan on watching, every single playoff game as I always do. But I watched this game last night, the Caitlin Clark, Iowa versus Angel Reese and LSU. And, it was very interesting because it's like I really only watched like a few games that I really kind of skipped through for basketball this season. Because nothing was really compelling, and I didn't watch any of the men's college basketball, and yet I watched this game, and it was such a fascinating experience to watch. And so this showed me a few things that I want to let Stephen A, because I think Stephen A is going to start based off how I set up the clip. I want to see what he has to say first, because I don't think he's going to say anything that I'm going to say. So I want to listen to what he has to say first, and then I'll counter it. And then we can kind of go from there. But I have some really interesting thoughts that really, really stuck out to me with regards to women's basketball and Caitlin Clark. So let's take a listen and we'll go from there.
What do you think that Caitlin Clark proved last night with her performance?
That she's big time, that she's a superstar, that she's every bit as big time as we all suspected that she was. We sat on this show yesterday, the three of us actually talking about this. And, what I said was, you got to show up. Greatness, Shannon would know a thing or two about it, the three-time Hall of Famer that he is. Greatness is about
three-time Hall of Famer?
We understand when you're great, but when you're compared to the great ones, it comes down to moments. Last night was a moment. That was what I kept emphasizing. You're going up against Angel Reese and LSU. Angel Reese that you've never beaten, okay, right, in 5 matchups that you've gone up against her. You've never been able to take her down. You've got a Final Four berth on the line. The residue from losing in a national championship game in lopsided fashion, I might add, is the backdrop of all of this coming into the game. So, yes, we were looking at Iowa, but the world was looking for Caitlin Clark. What are you going to do in this moment? LSU is bigger, more physical. A lot of people assume that they had the better roster, etc. What are you going to be able to do? And what does this girl, Caitlin Clark, do? She goes out and she puts on an absolute show. I mean, bombs away 9 3-pointers, dribbling behind the back, driving into the lane, pinpoint passes, 12 assists, galvanizing the troops and soaking greatness out of them that we didn't even know existed. Right. When you look at Kate Martin and others stepping up and doing what they did, this is what you're looking for when you want to cement your status as a bona fide superstar on your level. And last night, that performance by Caitlin Clark, prime time, national television, to show up against that team in the fashion that she did, and to have a 4-time champion like Kim Mulkey talking about her in the fashion that she talked about her, saying, I'm glad you're leaving, et cetera, it just cements what greatness is supposed to be. Caitlin Clark put it on display last night. She's got to do it again come Final Four, particularly with UConn waiting for her, and then possibly South Carolina, even though we don't want to summarily dismiss NC State. But in the end, the moment arrived, and Caitlin Clark answered the call. It was a spectacular performance on her part. She was sensational. And by the way, Ryan Ruocco was sensational calling that game for.
Let's jump to
Caitlin
Shannon.
Clark get to her spots early. You know she likes to drive the ball to the left, and when she drives to the left, she's looking to pull up. I don't know, Andrea, look, you follow the women's game. Why on earth would Kim Mulkey instruct her guys to go under the screen and not fight over the top. I'm not giving Caitlin Clark that kind of space. What she did was confirm what we already knew. There's a reason why she's the all-time leading scorer. There's a reason why she's top 3 in assists. We've never seen an offensive player that has the offensive repertoire. Could somebody possibly score the basketball better? Sure, if you want to say that. Could somebody pass the ball better? If you want to say a true point guard, I'll give you that. But when you combine the two, when you're making a dish and you say for a women's college basketball player who had the offensive repertoire of a Caitlin Clark, I defy you to find me one. There's not one. She checked the boxes we wanted to see. Stephen A., you said it's about moment, and that's what professional sports come down to, moments. And the moment arrived when we needed to see her. Could she do? It's almost reminded me like, Stephen A., I know you'll remember this, the Duke UNLV. You remember the first year in 90, UNLV blew them out.
Blew them out by 30. Blew them out of the building.
Got the rematch. And Kristen Leitner and those guys stepped up to the occasion.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. They did have Grant Hill that second go round.
Yes. They had him the first go round. They had him the first go round too.
You know, I mean.
Okay, well, so here we go. Here's what I want to talk about though. You know, because two things. You know, Stephen A. just pretty much cemented that Caitlin Clark is so great and all of that type of stuff. And then now Shannon tried to come back and just be like, why didn't they do certain things for defense and things of that nature? And the reality is that Caitlin Clark is so good. You could say that about all these great players. Why do they not just stop LeBron James? Why do they not just try and stop Steph Curry? Why do they not just try and stop Patrick Mahomes? Any of these other greats, Kobe Bryant. And it's like, you can't stop the greats. Everyone knew Michael Jordan was going to have the ball and do what he did, and yet you couldn't stop him. Everyone knows Steph Curry is pulling up and knocking down these threes, yet they can't stop him. Patrick Mahomes, everyone knows how amazing he is, what he likes to do. You can't stop him. So this whole idea of like, why didn't they just do this or why didn't they just do that? Because nothing works. Caitlin Clark transcends all of those things. How amazing and how great she really, truly is. But outside of her greatness, I want to just talk about women's basketball as a whole. Specifically, I guess maybe just in college, but also I guess kind of the WNBA. This game, first off, what made that game exciting was Caitlin Clark, right? She brought a Steph Curry energy. She has a style of play that is very similar, if not nearly identical, to what Steph does. The way she handled her passes, the way how she drove to the basket, her obvious, not only great three-point shooting, but the distance and the volume that she did it. That's what made that so exciting. It made it really, really, really exciting. You take away that game is a lot less exciting. Even if you were able to replace the points, it's just not as exciting. Caitlin Clark made that night truly, truly special. And Angel Reese's dominance, but the way she dominates, the way women's basketball, the dominant is, it's just different, right? Because it's like, I'm just like, kind of, you like jump a few times, then you finally get the rebound, and then you like throw up like a little layup, and it's just like, that's like dominance in that moment. It's just different. It just hits differently. But that's also what I found enjoyable about women's basketball. I'm going to say a few things that's going to sound like they're negatives, and they're really, really not meant to be, okay? The basketball game, the women are slower, weaker, not as athletic, and just not as good in general. And because of that, it actually made a somewhat more exciting product, a more exciting game to watch. They got tired more easily, so they were exhausted. So you saw them really digging deep into the tank, which is fun to watch as a viewer. Even layups, like basic layups, are hard, and the way they even like shoot their layups, like right, there's no give me baskets really. Like even like some wide open layups were kind of blown, which technically happens in the NBA, but not really, right? And since there's no dunking, like, yeah, so obviously like a big ferocious dunk can be exciting in the NBA, but those like easy buckets are just not that fun to watch, and even just like the easy mid-range or wide open threes, like the fact that they miss so much and that none of these shots are easy and that it is less physical, right? Like there is no real point where you can just easily back someone down. Like LeBron James can just muscle up, just use his size and strength and get easy basket after easy basket after easy basket. That's not enjoyable to watch. That's partly why Wembanyama is not the most fun to watch, outside of some of the other really awesome things he can do. But when he's just so big and tall and he just kind of can like reach over and dunk, like it's almost like a cartoon, like that's not that fun to watch. So the fact that these girls were, again, slower and weaker and just not as athletic, where they're not able to, they're not playing above the rim. This isn't, sometimes the NBA has turned into practically like a circus act, because they're just so fast and quick and can jump, 100 feet in the air. That, don't get me wrong, that's obviously also really exciting and great to watch. But some of the things have just become so automatic that there's not as much tension, really. That this game had tension because, again, just getting rebounds were difficult. Just getting layups were difficult. Not every single wide open three just went down. And again, it's not to say like all threes go down in the NBA either, but it just felt like you were more like it just had more tension to it. And to me, I found that honestly really, really enjoyable. And since they're not as physical and they're not just relying on their physicality just to like push people out of the way and do it, that made it more skill based, which was, again, I think is more enjoyable to watch. And it allows more defense to be played, and there was less foul calls. Now, correct me in the comments if that was just an anomaly, but the lack of free throws and fouls made such a more enjoyable. I've been saying this now for years. The NBA needs to cut down on timeouts and free throws. Every time a basketball game starts to get exciting, there is a whistle that's being blown, whether it be for free throws or just a take foul, or there's a timeout. Every time a team's getting exciting, it's a 6-0 run and it's starting to get a little racy and your mind is starting to race and you're like, oh my God. You're either really excited that your team is balling out, or you're really getting upset because your other team is on the ropes and you're just like, oh my God, come on. And then they call a timeout, and all that excitement, all that momentum, all that joy just puts on pause for some like pharmaceutical commercial. And you're just like, the heck, man, like this is so dumb. Or then you get, a Geico commercial, and you're just like, the heck, dude. Steph Curry just made back-to-back threes. The crowd was going wild. They just cut down a 15-point lead to 2, and you cut to a commercial. That sucked. This game didn't have that. It didn't have that type of energy. And again, maybe that was just an outlier, but there was plenty of times that I thought, oh, okay, this is going to cut to commercial, or oh, okay, this is going to be a foul, and it wasn't. And I really, really, really enjoyed that. And it's something that the NBA could learn a lot from, quite frankly. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. Please let me know in the comments below. What do you think Caitlin Clark proved last night? What do you think just about women's basketball, especially for a lot of you guys who maybe have not really watched a lot of these games, but did watch this game? Would love to hear your thoughts. And please don't forget to subscribe. We are building an amazing community here. And I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.